Hi, and welcome back to Beans and Bezels. Circula is a German microbrand based in Pforzheim, but the brand isn't new. They were originally formed in 1955, but the family was in the jewelry and watch business since 1926. Circula was revived in 2016 by Cornelius Huber to bring his family's brand back to the market, and they continue to operate out of Pforzheim. They received a lot of attention when they released a lineup of watches that featured their old in-house movements from new old stock. These heritage dress watches were very well received, and they've now decided to move on to something a bit sportier. They recently released a skin diver which pays homage, in the accurate sense of the word, to their own vintage skin diver. I will be reviewing the AquaSport with an ETA 2824-2 movement and a rubber strap, which retails at around $515 US. Let's check it out. The case measures 39mm in diameter, 46mm from lug to lug, and 12.8mm in height. The case shape is pretty typical for a skin diver, and this particular prototype has a radially brushed top and polished sides with polished bevel lugs. I believe the final units will have brushed sides. The mid-case is fairly thick and extends into a pair of lugs. The lugs are short and curve down slightly towards the wrist. There is a 120-click unidirectional bezel. The bezel grip is excellent and it is easy to grip and operate. The clicks are snappy and loud with little to no backplay. The bezel insert has all loomed elements and a colored insert that is covered with sapphire crystal. I'm not entirely sold on the color of the light blue section of the bezel, but Circula have said that they're making changes to this portion of the bezel. You have a screw down crown at the 3 o'clock position that is very easy to grip and operate thanks to the excellent proportions. The crown does have a colored section in the middle that you can get on request. I think it's pretty cool, and you also have a signed crown top. Flipping it over, you have a solid screw down case back with a diver etched onto the back. This watch is rated for up to 200 meters of water resistance. Circula offers 4 dial options with this watch, and this might be the boldest of them all. The base of the dial is a beautiful metallic blue that is just perfect for a blue dial. It isn't too bright, but is also perfectly vibrant. Unfortunately, I've been told that the dial color will be changed to more closely match the blue section on the bezel. I wish this was the other way around. You then have a raised white outer track that has black printed markers and applied hour indices. I think this is great and the quality of printing and finishing is very good here. The indices are applied to this outer track and generously filled with C3 Superluminova, also painted with an orange border. The finishing on these is excellent too, and given how many different components went into this is quite impressive for the money. There is a date window at the 6 o'clock position, which I always love, and the window is very neatly cut into the dial. The date wheel has a white background with black font, which actually works great with the black and white outer dial track. My only problem with this watch, and is most likely limited to this prototype unit, is the dust particles on the dial. And this is disappointing because the rest of the dial is actually very well finished and unlike most $500 watches that I review. So I hope that the final units are cleaner because this watch deserves it. You then have the brand's logo under the 12 o'clock marker, which looks to be applied onto the dial. I like it, but the visibility on this is quite poor since it is highly reflective and surrounded by a mostly dark dial base. I don't mind it, but some might. The handset on the prototype is simple and generously filled with lume. While this unit has high polished hands, the final production units are set to be brushed instead. I actually like the polished hands and think that it works well with the polished logo. The hands are well proportioned and are easy to read. The minute hand extends over to the minute track, and so does the seconds hand. The seconds hand is painted in orange to match the indices, and I think it looks great. It also has a loomed arrow tip, which is another winner. I did notice a small fiber sticking to the tip of the seconds hand though. Overall, I love the dial in its current state and wish they'd change the bezel to better suit the dial and not the other way around. I think the finishing across the dial is very impressive for a $500 watch, but I think the dial could be a little cleaner. No exaggeration here, the lume on this watch is incredible. Both the design, quality and quantity of lume used is very impressive. Even the Seiko lume fanatics will be pleased with this watch. All the bezel elements are loomed and they're loomed very well. Usually this is an element that is quick to fade, but on this watch it holds its charge quite well. The indices are also very generously loomed and so are the hands. The seconds hand has a small lume tip, which is great. Overall, brilliant job here, and if you're after good lume, this will not disappoint. This watch uses an ETA 2824-2, which is an excellent movement, especially when you consider the price of this watch. Unfortunately, I had too many watches to review during this week, so I didn't get to do any accuracy measurements on this one. But something worth noting here is that Circula is also offering a COSC certified option of this watch for $600 US, which I think is an incredible deal. The dimensions are pretty ideal for a variety of wrist sizes, at 39mm in diameter, 46mm from lug to lug, and 12.8mm in height. This watch wears great on my 6¼ inch wrist. Given the case design, it does wear a bit larger than typical 39mm watches, so if you have large wrists, don't be afraid to give this a shot. In terms of wrist balance, I think the 12.8mm height is a bit on the chunkier side of what I'd prefer, but the case back is mostly flat, so it sits nicely. I'm not a huge fan of the Tropic style rubber strap that it ships with, and I think it could have been slightly better designed to fit with the case and lugs. To wrap this up, for the price of this watch, you're getting a terrific deal. I would get the ETA movement or the COSC certified movement option, and with the beads of rice bracelet. I think the case is solid with decent finishing. The dial is very elaborate and finished well. Even if they don't clean up the microparticles on the dial, I still think it's a good enough overall package. But I suspect that the final production units will be much cleaner overall, making this an even more appealing purchase. Once again, thanks for watching, and don't forget to read the full review in the link below.